What is up, guys? We are back to the Kick Ash podcast. It has been far too long, about maybe 6, 7 months. I don't even know. Life has been crazy, guys. I am hopefully back. I'm not gonna commit to any type of set schedule or anything yet. I'm still trying to work some things out in my personal life, just scheduling wise, maintaining some other stuff. But I wanted to come back. I had to come back because of the return from over the weekend, which we all have been very much made aware of at this point. If you obviously are a wrestling fan, if you're listening to this, you've heard about it by now. If you haven't, I'm not sure how you're hearing it for the first time from me, but shout out to you if you are. But CM Punk is back. I know you guys thought I was going to lead off with R-Truth. I was very tempted to, very, very tempted to, but CM Punk just edged out a little bit there, and then Randy Orton coming in third there and ranking out the returns. But he's back, guys. I, for one, am so stoked. I'm so fucking happy. If you guys see, not a wrestling fan at all, or what do they call us, marks, right? That's from his AEW tenure, which we'll break down in a separate podcast here. Hopefully, maybe this week. This week I'll be traveling back to Virginia to see some folks, but I'm gonna try to bust out another video, and then I'll be going to the Royal Rumble, which will be here in Tampa with some buds of mine, and I'm super fucking pumped about that. So shout out to you guys who I'll be seeing there. And we'll definitely get some type of video before, after, maybe during. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. This is not going to be my permanent setup. I'm actually recording on my phone right now. Like I said, some things have changed in my personal life, so I just need to restructure some things. And I think this is going to be the permanent home for my new desk. But the stuff that's behind that way is not really exciting or anything. And at least I thought that would be a little bit more exciting, right? But yeah, no, guys. I'm not gonna even be here too long, but I just wanted to check in, say, hey, apologize for the delay and for the abrupt absence. I'm just a big believer now, in just taking care of your mental and personal health. And I'm trying to become a better person at that. And I'm trying to juggle some things and figure out how to juggle some things. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where I went. But that's why I said I'm not going to commit to a every Monday type thing or anything like that. But this was just too big to pass up. So with all that bullshit out of the way, CM Punk is back, and I will say I told you guys so. If you guys have listened to me in the past, you know back from the bullshit that happened with the brawl out, right? From, was that 2 years ago? A year ago now? It's wrestling world in time is just insane. But when we thought that he could possibly be fired from AEW from the whole brawl out situation, I was on the ball or in the ballpark where I really didn't think they were going to fire him. Them obviously, fast forward to everything that happened at All In with Jack Perry and all that good stuff. Which, if you think about it, could be a blessing in disguise for, especially for CM Punk. He may want to send Jack Perry a old Christmas card or a old thank you note there. Or something, because homeboy, especially if Punk was that unhappy at AEW, right? Then I think that possibly Jack Perry could have done Punk a favor. So we will see how things end up going with the whole devil and things like that in AEW, because I think it's pretty safe to say we know one person who is at the devil, and that is CM Punk. Keep in mind too, and not really take advantage of, or not take advantage of, or take for granted, is what I wanted to say, is the fact that Punk went to AEW, right? Again, that's going to be, I think, a topic that I kind of delve into more on a different show. But I think, in that being the AEW Punk relationship return, things like that, I think that, I'm not going to say, well, maybe the right classification is re-sparking his love for wrestling, right? Because obviously that love was always there. He just was in denial, and he just didn't, or maybe not even in denial, he just didn't want to go back to that ex. He broke up with WWE. He was on to bigger and better things. He didn't want to go back. He was firm in his ground. So I think that's probably what played into most people saying, like, oh, he's never going to go back to WWE. He's gonna stick to his guns. He's going to be that one who never goes back. And I just didn't see it. Call it the stubbornness in me or whatever, but I didn't see it. I knew Punk was gonna come back. I figured it was just a matter of time, especially when he got fired after the incident at All In and everything. I think that it was pretty obvious. It was literally just a matter of time, especially since it didn't seem to be any probationary period, any like 90-day clause or anything like that. And I think maybe Tony Khan being in fear for his life possibly helped both sides just be like, you know what, just come to a hard end here. This is what we'll do for you. This is what you'll do for us. This is what you won't do. This is what we won't do. And kind of cut ties right then and there. And it sucks, because obviously I was one of those people who was super fucking stoked that Punk was back in wrestling to begin with, right? When he debuted, or yeah, debuted for AEW in Chicago back in, God, what was that? Was that 2019? No, 2020. What year was it? 2021? It was 2021. I'm losing my mind. Whatever year, and that was there. That's the that's the craziest part about it. But whatever year that was, I was like, man, this is it. And then shortly around that time period, Danielson had came in, Adam Cole came in. So obviously that's when we all were like, this is it. This is exactly what AEW needed. This is gonna take them to the next level, right? Obviously things didn't go as anyone probably hoped and planned for. But I think that happened for a reason, right? I think that love for wrestling was rejuvenized in AEW for Punk, and I think who knows how early on into it, but I think it was pretty obvious once he made a detour. I think it was actually here in Florida, in the Tampa area, when I think it was Raw, the Monday Night Raw crew was in the area. It may not have been for Tampa, I'm not sure exactly, but it was for a show. And Punk, it was had a lining layover, I think, for his flight or something to that effect, and just so happened to be in the area where Raw was. Went backstage, said hey to a couple people. Rumor was they said hey to Triple H. Vince McMahon was still around at the time because this was pre TKO days. Kicked him out, which people made a big deal about that too. I would have too if I was Vince McMahon. I would have been like, "Yo, bro, you're under contract to a different company. You can't be here. Thank you, but no thank you," type thing. Um, but whatever that situation was, that was like, okay, okay, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. I had to pause myself. So full transparency. And shout out to StreamYard because now we have this pausing capability and I'm super happy for that. Like I said, guys, that's why this video isn't gonna be too long because I do have a real full-time job that I have to do. But I couldn't work today. I couldn't focus today. Hope you guys aren't seeing that. But I was too pumped for this. So that's why if I lose my train of thought, I have no one else here to ask what I was just saying. But long story short, and I think what I was saying was that was prior to the TKO taking over days with Vince McMahon being there and shunning Punk when he was backstage. Obviously, what I was saying was I would have done the same thing, legality reasons. I mean, first of all, like you it's just not okay. You know what I mean? So, but that I bring that up because I was like oh, okay type moment. That was like you wouldn't do that if you hate these people type shit. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be pressed to go back over there and just say, hey, and just check in. Because how many times in the past damn near 10 years, 8 years, if you want to go back, maybe 7, 8 years, if you want to go back to before he went to AEW, how many times had WWE and AEW for that matter been in Chicago and Punk could have stopped by and said, hey, Chicago is a hotbed. Obviously, if we can tell how many, I would love to do a quick tally of just in 2023 alone, how frequently either AEW, WWE, or even any other, I don't want to say small promotions, but just other promotions have frequented the Chicago area because that place is a fucking hotbed. And shout out to them because as evidence of Survivor Series on almost said last night, Saturday night, like place was jumping, and on Friday night as well. So, and shout out to WWE because prior to obviously even Punk coming in, their ticket sales have been kicking ass, kicking ass. That's why me and my friend Josh, shout out to him. When we were trying to get our tickets for Royal Rumble, we were just doubling up. If he got the better seats at the better price and was able to snag them, he was going to snag them, and vice versa. And just so stoked for the Rumble guys. And I even more reason with Punk being here, right? But to that point in general, tonight I believe they're in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe it is. I had pulled that up because I was curious to see if they had any additional updates for the numbers for Tennessee because and shout out WrestleTix, they do fucking fantastic too. Like with their stats, brilliant and just so informative and just so interesting. Like and they're doing this new thing or have been for the past couple months or couple weeks, maybe a month or so now, where they show the obviously the current standings of the tickets, distributed, all that good stuff. But then they show right underneath of that a section where they compare it to being in the same area last time, right? So if they were in the Wintrust Arena in Chicago today, when they were here 6 months ago, this is what they did, and kind of comparing it in the same tweet. And that's dope for someone like me. I truly appreciate that. So thank you guys. But yeah, I mean, between the return of Punk, right? Between the return of R-Truth and between the return of Randy Orton, WWE is killing it and cooking on all their cylinders, and they just went out and got more, right? Like and it's exciting for us, right? Like people sometimes say, "Oh, like the ratings don't matter, business doesn't matter if you're a fan," and that's true, right? At the end of the day, I'm still gonna sleep just fine whether WWE is being successful or not. But for me as a fan, it's a good gauge to see the excitement level and to see where we're at as a business and as an industry. And me, how it affects me as a fan and us as a fan is if our industry is sucking and the business isn't going well, then that is going to negatively impact other things because the opportunities aren't going to be there. Like the cities aren't going to bid as much, right? Obviously, W, you're not going to worry about that. They're a juggernaut at this point. But you're not going to have the availability for other startup businesses like an AEW to even get started or your indie promotions to gain steam and gain traction and to get network deals, right? Like, say what you want about the NWA, but the fact that they even have an availability to get a deal, and yes, a huge factor is Billy Corgan, right? Um, but maybe even MLW is a bit better example. They've had different negotiations with streaming deals and things like that, and they have their own. I believe it's MLW who has their a lawsuit going on with WWE if they haven't settled it already. With just WWE, quote unquote, dominating the market. I think I may have referenced it in the past, but all I like to say, when wrestling is thriving, we all thrive. When WWE is thriving, we all thrive. When AEW is thriving, we all thrive, right? And that's why it's just been so weird to see like all the hate for maybe not hate for AEW, but just like the mocking of Punk in AEW, right? Like, oh, you guys couldn't see him. And like I guess it's like the WWE fans. And obviously me growing up, I was a diehard WWE fan. But since I've grown up, I've embraced other wrestling companies, right? Which I think we all should do. And yeah, you can have your favorite, but you shouldn't shun one over the other. I don't know, but that's not my business. I say that because it just all the backlash besides like and it wasn't even a lot, but like just some random accounts and then like you have your high follower accounts who like retweet and repost all this bullshit just to kind of fan the flames. But they were saying, oh, how AEW can keep Punk and how he's going to be, um, either if you have the AEW side, right? They're like, oh, he's WWE's problem now. Like, good luck with that, or like, see us in a year type shit. And then you have the WWE side where it's like, oh, well, he's finally home and all this. And I think Triple H even referenced him coming home. And if you guys didn't see the press conference after the Survivor Series, very well done, very well done. Couple of the people I was surprised to see there. So I'm kind of intrigued and curious as to what their qualifications are to make it backstage. I just expected you to kind of need to be higher up, but hey, shout out to you guys. Y'all are grinding, y'all are doing the thing. I fucking would go if I could, right? So it's not a knock. It was just like, oh wow, like okay, like maybe there's a chance out there. Um, but I say that because Triple H obviously mentioned and brought up the whole CM Punk thing, mentioned how it was a relatively quick process. They were obviously interested in it, and it died down, or right around the time where it started dying down, maybe about a week and a half ago. That's when the conversations really heated up, and that's why if you ask anyone who knows me, whether it's people I work with in person or just any of my friends, like if they asked me and we talked about it, I was on the train from jump. Oh yeah, Punk's coming back. I didn't think it was gonna be a Survivor Series because I thought it was probably gonna be a little bit too obvious, and you have your Randy Orton return there, but and this prize turn of R-Truth. So I mean, why would you need Punk as well? So I was thinking maybe at the Rumble, and maybe just being selfish since I will be there, right? But I think the way they did it was fucking perfect. It was fucking perfect, and to hear Triple H that he took over the last few minutes of the production or whatever it was to kind of set that up and how limited people knew and all that. Brilliant. Well done, guys. Just beautifully done. Beautifully done. And I love how adamant a lot of your go-to sources and sites are like, oh no, he's not coming back, he's not coming back. All the rumors have been shot down, which they should be, right? And again, like I'm not knocking anybody because that's they're doing their job reporting, right? But it's like some things I just don't expect them to know, and I don't want to know. Like I'm not even gonna say the name, but there is a probably like the top wrestling journalist site, maybe the top one or out of two. Like I've never even been to the website. I don't even know the website domain name. I don't follow them on Twitter. Um, just because there's like a lot of negativity behind them as well. But there are ones that I do follow, right? Like Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp does a great job, so shout out to them. But there's a lot of times where I purposely don't go on social media because I don't want to possibly be spoiled, right? And for Survivor Series, luckily it worked out where I had to work, so I was obviously not even able to touch my phone. But I say that because I love the journalists and what they do, but some things I just love being fans on, and I just love the surprise, and I love them being wrong on, you know? Like, and if I worked for them too, or if I was in professionally in that field, I'd embrace being wrong too. Obviously, you know, you don't want to be wrong on the majority of things, your credibility, but I think in the sense of that, like, you shouldn't have all the answers, and your sources shouldn't tell you shit like that. They should just be like, nah, you know, like give you, and I guess I don't know, that's above my pay grade, right? And I don't really know the inner workings on what sources should say, and like I don't know. My point is, I'm happy it was kept top notch secret. I'm happy that a lot of the performers, the majority of the performers didn't even know. I love the reaction that Seth gave, and shout out to Seth. I sent a tweet out earlier. Seth is WWE's MVP and has been for I don't even know, maybe at least the past 5 years. 23 it was 2023 now. At least the past 5 years. That dude deserves his flowers. He deserves a fucking vacation. He deserves to carry his title all the way to Mania, defend against Mania. Whether he drops to Punk at Mania or not is still debatable. I'm still trying to figure out what I personally would vote for in that realm. But that's again a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But Seth after Mania, whether he drops it at Mania, which I guess he would have to take time off, um, dude deserves a break, right? Like I don't think he's even taken time off since him and Becky had their child. Maybe obviously like a couple weeks, but not an extended break. And especially if he's dealing with this back injury that they've been referencing for quite some time now. Why not? I mean, you'll have Punk, you'll have Cody, you'll have Randy Orton back. Like Seth deserves a good 6 months off. You know, whether Becky takes time off or not, that's their business. But I just think it'd be cool, right, for him to have family time, for him to just have time with his daughter, for him to run his coffee shop. And if you guys don't know, Seth Rollins runs his own wrestling training camp. I looked into it because I wanted to go there. He literally runs him and a part like a best friend of his, I believe a former wrestler as well, um, and a couple other trainers, obviously for when he's traveling. But dude goes in there and trains talent. He is actively in there. He is actively teaching the classes when he's not on the road. Doing that, he runs a coffee business right beside the training shop as well. Like I think they're even connected, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so dude is cooking and booking, man, cooking and booking. And I say that because he deserves all the praise in the world. He deserves all the kudos. And I just think it's fucking hilarious how people are just like tripping over his response and like, oh, he's heated, blah, 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 blah. Duh, he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be. That's Seth. Seth is a loose cannon. His character right now is a loose cannon. He's extravagant. Everything he does is extravagant, right? And his reaction, of course, is going to be extravagant. He was flicking people off, like, and bro, like, if you thought he was really that heated, you think Michael Cole? No disrespect to Michael Cole, because Michael Cole obviously can go. He had a WrestleMania match. Do you think Michael Cole is going to stop Seth Rollins, Colby Lopez, dude, from actually going to fight CM Punk, Phil Brooks, if it was that heated and that real? Like, come on, guys. Come on. It was perfectly well done for wrestling and what it needed to be for us. So everyone going out there saying, like, oh, Seth is this, Seth is that, like, he's not going to be professional. Y'all have not been, I don't know what y'all been watching. Um, yeah, obviously in interviews, he said some shit in the past. First of all, what, 4 or 5 years ago? Okay. Second of all, it's different, and I'm not even in business to understand this, right? But my perception and my interpretation, it's different when you have someone like a CM Punk coming in who is not going to be everyone's best friend, probably not even anyone's acquaintance, not everyone's acquaintance, rather. You're going to have a lot of people who don't even want to say hi to him, who don't even want to give him the time of day. But that same person, if they, especially if they're in WWE, they are trained to know and to do business, right? And if they don't, then they will be dealt with. But Seth Rollins is not that person. We have seen over the years, and probably shit that we don't even know about. I know there's shit we don't even know about. Cody Rhodes is a prime example. There's always this saying, oh, or this thought, right, that Seth and Cody don't really like each other in real life, and I think Cody has even referenced that as well. Seth lost to Cody 3 fucking times. Do y'all remember that Hell in a Cell match where Cody's pec was torn? All that, you remember, right? So for Seth to lose 3 times to Cody, especially losing to Cody in the Cell match in that condition, y'all think he's gonna have a problem facing CM Punk? And no disrespect to Cody, because if y'all see me, y'all know me, y'all know I love Cody Rhodes, right? Y'all think Seth isn't gonna want to have a match with Punk at Mania for the title and even put him over? Y'all, I don't remember where I first heard this, but in the wrestling business, it's not always about who goes over match winning wise. It's about who goes over perception wise. Meaning it doesn't matter who wins the match necessarily, and a lot of times it does, right? But in certain situations, it's a twofold. It doesn't necessarily matter who wins the match, CM Punk, but who is a star and who makes the match, Seth Rollins. If they come together, that makes the match, and that makes the moments that we love, right? So I just think we're in for a treat. Again, we're so far off, so far off. And tonight, Saturday was step one, the return. Tonight is step two, the promo. My goodness, I wish I could be there tonight. I hope Tennessee, I'm pretty certain it's Tennessee. I hope they blow the roof off that place. I'm so intrigued to see his reaction from each state, right? Because obviously we're not going to be in Chicago every week. And obviously, not every WWE fan is going to love CM Punk and love everything that he's done and said. But I think the way that they present him tonight, right? And I think tonight, taking that back, I think, and just kind of stopping there, I think tonight is going to answer a lot of questions. And I think tonight needs to be with CM Punk exactly what they did for Cody Rhodes. And if Triple H truly is in charge, which it obviously seems to be, I think it will be. And I think even maybe even then, like more than that. I think that how Cody came in as the total package that we wanted him to be, the appearance, the music, the aura, the American Nightmare, right? Everything Cody was in AEW, Cody is in WWE, just amplified. You take CM Punk, the beauty about CM Punk is he has been the exact same everywhere he's gone. He's always said he's the best in the world. He's always had the same logo. He's always had the same music. He's always had the same shit. Obviously, he didn't use Cult of Personality his entire run in WWE, but you guys know what I mean. But the fact, or my point is, the beauty and the great thing about CM Punk is that you literally tonight, all you have to do, and that's gonna be intriguing too, to see if they start the show with Punk, or if they end the show with Punk, or if they start the show with Randy, then end it with Punk, or flip it around, or if they do both. I'm so fucking pumped. I'm gonna get some Pepsi. I'm gonna maybe pop over to my little light on the sugar local bakery over here, grab me a nice little muffin, finish up my actual work that I should be doing, and I'm gonna be fucking ready, guys. I am gonna be locked in at 8 o'clock. I don't even know what game is playing tonight. Like I've been trying to get better versed in the world of sports, right? So I've been trying to watch all my stuff, and shout out to Enter the Lab podcast on YouTube as well. They keep me up to date with the sports world and other shit as well. But because there's so much for us to keep track of. If we count all the wrestling hours that we're supposed to be held accountable for, guys, like it's that itself is a job, right? So we need all the help we can get. So shout out to Enter the Lab pod. But guys, I'm ready for tonight. If it's not obvious enough, if I haven't said it enough, I'm fucking stoked for Punk. I think tonight is going to be a true answer on what version of Punk we're going to get in WWE, what WWE is going to present us or present the Punk package to us as. And I think, like I was saying, literally all they need to do, I would prefer opening the show with him. And I think you have to off of this momentum, because I saw something, I don't know if it's accurate or not. The return video of Punk, the tweet that WWE sent out, is their most liked and most like viewed tweet of all time. And that's in less than 48 hours. Like, what? Yeah, like, it's fucking crazy. Um, so yeah, guys, I'm stoked. I think, long story short, real quick, Punk's road to WrestleMania. I think tonight you come out, you give him a good shit. You can give him 5, 6 minutes uninterrupted on the mic, right? Then you have a nice little interruption by the world heavyweight champion, Seth Rollins. Have him come out, get whatever he will, or not even get everything off of his chest. Just have that moment, have them staring at each other. Then you can have a Randy Orton come back or whatever you want to do. But I think Punk needs to talk for at least 5 to 6 minutes. Let him say what he's gonna say. Have him get cut off so you know that there's still maybe 5 to 6 minutes is even a little long. But I say that because that is gonna encompass his reaction, him standing in the ring, him being like, "Oh my god, look at the moment" type thing. Then him start talking, kind of get a few things out. Because if you don't let him speak at all, that what are we doing? Um, but just enough out to kind of leave us hanging. Then you have your interruption, and whether that is Seth or someone else, but I think that's the most obvious route at this point, right? Even prior to Seth's reaction, we all know the history between Seth and Punk. It God that even stems back to the Shield days, right? So that's again, guys, this is gonna be a whole another pod, but I think Punk officially, where are we at? December? I guess we're a little too early to even declare for the Rumble at this point. Because I was gonna say maybe you can have Punk be the first one to declare for the Rumble, and maybe you still can, right? Maybe Punk can. Maybe that's what he kind of touches on the past, and then he references the Rumble, and then he's about to say like, "Oh, I declare for the Rumble" or something to that effect, and then that's when he gets interrupted. I don't want them to fight at the Rumble, right? I want Punk to be in the Rumble, and then to go from there, and then to have his championship match at Mania. Whether CM Punk wins the Rumble, whether he gets screwed out of the Rumble, that's a whole another thing. But I think you absolutely have to have Punk in the Rumble itself and then go from there. But I think however they do decide to get there, because you still have the Cody wild card, how's he going to get back to Roman, things like that. I think just another reason why this Rumble is going to be so fucking interesting and truly the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. It's just going to be one of those things. And I think that tonight is going to answer a lot of questions. The next few weeks are going to answer a lot of questions. And I just think that we're in for a treat, guys. I think it's really going to be something to see Punk interacting with Seth, with Randy, with Cody. If Punk doesn't win at Mania against Rollins, right? Let's just say, let's kind of fast forward. Let's say Punk and Rollins have their main event match. WWE doesn't pull the trigger on Punk they put him in the main event on night one, right? Night one you have Punk versus Rollins for the title. Night two you have Roman and Cody for the title. I could see Seth retaining the title, even though I just said he deserves time off. I could see him retaining the title and dropping it possibly shortly after, and then maybe even a Money in the Bank cash in if we haven't got it since then. And then I could see on the night after or the Monday after Raw after Mania, I can't think, the Raw after Mania, Cody winning at Mania, coming out, opening the show, even though he's technically supposed to be on SmackDown, but we know, it is what it is. Especially with that big of a moment, you're going to want him on TV. What better way to combat that than having Punk come out there and answer Cody Rhodes' challenge? Cody just won the title, but he's ready to defend. He finished that story and he's ready to start his own story, right? So who's his first challenger going to be? You hit Punk's music. So I'm just saying, something that we see in the near future. Near future, I mean 6-8 months from now after Mania. But who would have thought, right? And I'm going to end on this. Who would have thought, if we go back, maybe 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, we would possibly be getting Punk versus Cody Rhodes, but in WWE. How fucking crazy, right? With that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking this out. If I even end up posting it, I look like shit. I just had to talk to you guys. I had to say something. I had to vent. I had to get all this excitement off. Now I need to get back to my real-time job. But thank you guys again. Kick-Ash Podcast is hopefully going to be back bigger and better in the next few-ish weeks. If not, before the end of the year, definitely something more steady. after the new year. Like I said, I'm just getting some shit straightened out. Not that y'all care about that. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you guys enjoy the fuck out of Monday Night Raw. And let me know what you guys think. If you want to comment, go for it. I'm on Twitter. My personal account is at ASHMANNS. I think that's what it still is. You can find the show's Twitter, or on X, whatever the fuck they're calling it. It's always Twitter to me, at Kickash Podcast _. But until then, guys, thank you again for checking out the show. Stay safe.